Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Randy, what's on your mind today?
Oh my god, that render that we saw of Oh my god, what a great
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hey, hi.
Hi.
What is up? What is up? That render that we saw with the Cybertruck and it being smaller and stuff like that, the most non-tech, non-whatever person, my wife, I showed her it because I was like, okay, real assessment. What do you think of the new design rumored by Elon? She goes, I love it even more. Now it's even more my truck.
She did?
Yes.
That's interesting. I find that interesting because at first glance it did look kind of fundamentally different, but that's why I thought, this looks kind of cool to me. But I knew Nick oftentimes is set in his ways, and I was like, I don't know if Nick's gonna like that they're changing his Cybertruck. You look like a Bond villain right now, just the way you're sitting there.
Mr. Bond.
But Nick said he doesn't hate it either.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's different, and I'm gonna need to get used to it. And honestly, it's not the size that matters, guys. It's the
That's people with small things say.
On previous podcasts, that sounded like the size was kind of important, though.
On technology stuff. But okay, so I drive small cars. My Ford Escape is interiorly, it's very tall, which I like, so my hair doesn't touch the ceiling. Also, my chair is like all the way down on the ground, so it's kind of uncomfortable to drive for long periods of time. But anyway, it's compact and like it doesn't take up a lot of space in parking spots, and I don't have to, do the little S turn to get into a parking spot.
Right.
Yeah.
And with my dad's F-350 that, is I don't know, 20 something feet. It's the exact same length as what the Cybertruck was originally. Mm-hmm. That's a bear to park sometimes. And so I remember saying the only thing I'm not super excited about the Cybertruck is it being a big vehicle, like dimensions wise, not height wise. So as long as I fit in it and I don't have to put the chair all the way down to the floor, so my legs aren't uncomfortable, and I still am not touching my hair on the ceiling, and they don't change the fundamental design of the Cybertruck, I don't mind it. And honestly, a little bit more compact feels a little bit more practical to me. Because at the end of the day,
very small
I don't
difference.
Yeah, it's very small, and you really only notice it side by side. But it does look a little bit more sporty and less utility, if that makes any sense. Like,
Yes.
It feels like a little more compact and a little more aggressive, and instead of like the long. It's so minor though. Like. You can't.
I didn't even notice. Like,
it's bad.
I saw Elon tweet about the center line being more level, and I didn't even know what he was referring to when I read that. I was like,
"Yeah,
what is the center line?"
Back
and then that guy made the concept. I apologize if I don't pronounce his name correctly. Alwyn Art on Twitter tweeted that concept, and I was like, "Oh, that's what he meant." Like about the windowsill changing as well as the center line, and I'm like, that's not bad. That makes more sense. Maybe that's easier for manufacturing, but at the same time, like if this is what they're changing within, I mean, how long ago was the unveil? It was November, right? Or is that? Yeah.
Yeah,
November,
it was November
19.
December, January, February, March.
So that's 6
April,
months. 5 months, technically. So if that's what it changes in 5 months, I mean, we've got plenty of time for it to change again. But I mean, do you guys think it could change more since then, or do you think that they're changing it from the prototype to get it ready for the production model?
They are going to change it a few more times. So I had this conversation with my father-in-law. He works on cars for a living. He's done it his whole life. He's a mechanic of sorts, and he knows more. This is where we bridge the gap between me being a tech nerd and him being like a grease monkey. And now we see eye to eye in something, and friendships were formed because we can both like and appreciate the truck. He told me, and I was like, yeah, but Tesla's different. And now I'm like, oh, maybe he's right about something. He says like whenever you see, because then I thought about the Model 3 too, and it did it too. Whenever you see them unveil something like, hey, here's the prototype of something, he says, he's like 10 out of 10 times it's going to change. It has to change. The concept of them showing you something. It has the foundation set, but he goes, I've never seen something go from exactly here's what exactly looks like to it actually being released when it comes to automobiles. And he's like, there's always something that has to change in between, because sometimes the change is for the better, because whatever you saw during the prototype, when the actual thing releases, something improved. and it has to
Sure.
change the structural design of something at that point. And it's like, if we can increase the range, if we can increase efficiencies, then why wouldn't you do it? There's no point just like, I want that exact same thing. It's like, it doesn't really matter, because
would say,
it is
though,
always simply change.
To counter, Model 3 and Model Y were dang near close to the prototype. There were
For
barely any differences. Very, very tiny
But
ones.
Model
if there
3
was.
and Model Y were not huge departures from standard vehicle design. So I feel like, as we get closer and closer to release, Tesla's going to figure out how to make the Cybertruck even cheaper. Like, there's a lot more efficiencies they're going to find, and I honestly believe until the first product comes, it's all in flux. So, if they change something radical, it's very possible.
What
Elon,
things do you think could
just
change?
with the big Falcon rocket, back in 2016, they pivoted from carbon fiber hull to stainless steel hull, and that was done like overnight. And it's all up for change. Don't take anything too literally, but I love the design. I love both of the designs. I think the more compact a wheelbase it has will make it easier to maneuver. It will lose out on a little bit of functionality. That 6.5-foot bed would have been nice. Just
I don't know if that's gone though. I wonder where they're shaving off the size.
That has to be the spot where, unless they're shaving off some of the frunk or something. Like, they don't want to change the interior size. Like, that should stay the same in my opinion.
I think bed and interior should not be. I think that should be the only consistent that's not compromising. Whatever you do on the outside,
I would say reduce the frunk size
Yeah.
above everything.
Nick, what do you think is going to change?
I hope not much.
I hope not much. I would imagine some of the interior things are going to change a little bit. That dash is as cool as it looks. That big white thing. I kind of think they'll find a different material. They said it was like a paper or something or other. Yeah. It sounds complicated. Knowing Elon, he wants it simple. So I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up just being a piece of stainless steel in there. This just
be a lot heavier.
Well, okay, aluminum. I don't know, whatever. Brushed aluminum, faux
Paper's
wood.
got them beat.
Well, it sounds complicated. The thing is simplicity, not necessarily weight reduction or good looks. But I think it looks good. The whole design of the Cybertruck is very simple, and so if they have this big complicated paper thing, if it's not complicated, then great. But if
that's my point, I don't think it's very complicated. If it's paper substitute, then that's pretty light and pretty cheap. But it's
carbon fiber.
Sure.
Too expensive.
That sounds more complicated. That sounds more complicated.
I think the steering wheel is most likely to change.
I hope not. That thing's so cool.
I love that. I would do a third party swap to see if I could get that back. That'd be cool.
Or it might be like a feature that you add to the higher end line of it. Like, hey, you get the cool
plaid
wheel.
mode.
Yeah.
Plaid
the same
wheel.
way you get the same way you get the wheels with the steering wheel as well comes with the wheels. All wheels get updated.
I don't think most guys who drive pickup trucks would like that style.
No,
they would rather have something
they don't like the Cybertruck for that matter. At that point,
no. But the you can only change so much before it's like. I think the Cybertruck design is different, but it's more functional. Whereas I don't think that steering wheel is more functional. It's more of a style thing.
Yeah, it is. I'd agree with that because it is a lot less comfortable. I did a little experiment a while ago at a longer trip. It was like an hour drive, and I was like thinking, I'm just going to leave my hands at 9 and 3 or whatever, just where the Cybertruck is, and just see how comfortable that is. Because normally I'm a 6 and 6 driver on the highway, or like a 10 and 2 in the city.
I'm a 0 and 0 on the highway.
I know exactly. See, there you go. That's the hope though with the Cybertruck. Just boom,
but see,
boom,
with autopilot, they want you to hold your hand there. You couldn't do that with that wheel.
The
laws will be different
that
back
camera then. And True. So I don't know what's going to change. I can't say anything specific because who knows? It's all in change. But yeah, I hope the bed stays the same because I was kind of looking forward to camping in the back. Like, its 6.5-foot bed is just enough to fit me lengthwise, and if I do a little bit of a diagonal thing, it should be fine. And I have lots of friends who just camp in the back of their pickup trucks, and it's pretty efficient and nice way to camp, and it's a little more comfortable than a tent and easier to set up and whatnot. So that 6.5 foot bed was nicer than a 6 foot bed, because I definitely don't fit in a 6 foot bed in any direction.
I'm gonna guess the bed size isn't changing. That's my
Yeah,
prediction.
I really, if there's anything I hope that doesn't change, it's the head height from the driver's seat and the bed size is the things I hope that don't change.
Yeah.
I could also see them changing the wheel styling a little bit. All of the concepts and not the concept, all the rendering and the prototype that we have, it's that very, I love the look of the wheel. And I think on April 1st, someone did like a April Fool's joke or something, and like a bunch of media articles ran with it, thinking it was real. Like, oh, Tesla changed the Cybertruck's design, and like,
On April 1st, I'm convinced.
yeah,
Right.
but that thing looks so stupid. They have like regular wheels on it, and it needs aggressive looking wheels, like
Terrain
There's-
wheels, baby.
Because there's
I
not
know,
a
there's-
curve on the whole thing, so they're trying to make
Exactly, I
a
know.
wheel that doesn't have curves, which is kind of hard. To
exactly. That's what they're doing.
Square wheels.
Triangle wheels, Drew.
If I can't drive that thing on the cliff like that, then it's not good enough. It needs to be able to drive up a cliff.
He said he wants, in more recent tweets, he said that it has a completely like brand new air suspension system that's not the same as the Model S or X. It's like a whole new suspension because he wants it to be really good at off-roading, which I was happy to hear. It's like,
Yeah.
that's cool because people are going to definitely use it for that.
And all of the off-road stuff, I'm probably never going to use. You know, I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've occasionally maybe, but I'm really looking forward to the durability of it. You know, all these off-road parts are more durable. I used to live somewhere. It was at the end of like a 2-mile dirt road, and in the springtime when the water washed all of the road base out, it was trashed our cars. Every year, new struts, new shocks, new brakes, and it was very expensive. And from that, I've learned that there are differences between, you know, standard car parts and like more durable utility parts that are made for that off-road stuff. So I'm excited to see, and since we've moved, there's none of that need, but we still have all those parts on our cars, and they've lasted forever. And so I'm excited with the Cybertruck. Any kind of utility off-roady stuff they can put into it is just going to help it last longer, because those
Right.
parts are more durable by at least 20 or 30%.
I think for me, you know, desert terrain, I would take it out to the sand dunes as my ultimate. I have not been to the sand dunes in years because I don't have a vehicle that can support that type of terrain.
Yeah.
But if we're still on track to plan on purchasing one in a couple of years, so that's going to be my ultimate, like, all right, let's see what this is all about. Because normally you would go out there and then I would have oh my god, what if I had the ATV with it? That'd be so cool. But anyway, sorry,
And
I
solar.
just fantasized. Oh, it'd
True.
be so cool. Okay, so I'm getting excited now. But I would just take the truck around that would be the ultimate, like, all right, this is the ultimate put up or shut up, because
Roll all
soft
the windows
sand,
down.
yes, I've seen cars get stuck out there because it's just like, it's sand, it's soft sand, just gets sucked in, and then you're just there. And
The Cybertruck is going to be heavy, though. I know the lighter, like the little dune buggies that I've seen, you know, they're very lightweight vehicles. That
Pure
have very
power,
large
baby.
Wheels. Yeah,
your power is
obviously.
going to break
Well,
right
like,
through all that.
I don't know. It's
weight
I
heavy.
helps.
hate sand, though.
Weight gives you traction.
Not in sand.
But I hate
It would-
sand, man. It's it's rough, it's coarse, it gets
coarse.
everywhere.
Well,
Rough,
the other
it's
thing
coarse,
that would
it's
help
irritating.
with
It gets everywhere. Come on, Randy.
the thing that helps with
Excuse me, Anakin.
off-roading is the weight distribution.
You are
In
the
fact, all
chosen one,
weight-
Andy.
Forget about the sand. The weight distribution's on the bottom, which means it would help a lot with off-roading stuff because you're not
Yeah,
super top
it
heavy
wouldn't
or
tilt
front
or
heavy.
tip. Yeah. But it would
I'd have
make
never
the
gone
sand a
off-roading,
little
but
easier.
I mean,
think
we
if-
had a
well,
quad
what
runner.
do you have, Drew? Like forest line, tree
Yeah.
lines and stuff?
Like when I in my childhood home, I think I was in middle school when we bought a quad runner because my property was like 3-4 acres big, and we had plenty of like trails all around it that we would just ride around in, and we would drift around the burn pile and stuff like that. It's the woods. You could still, after a rain or something, you could lose traction on the dirt, and that's about
Yeah.
it though. I mean, I've never taken anything to the sand dunes, or I've never gone to a place like for the quad runner. We just drove it around our yards and neighbors' yards and stuff.
I wonder how wide the Cybertruck is. Is it like 6 feet wide? It's a wide.
There's
truck,
an
right?
answer. I'm sure you can look it up, but
I've-
I think
I've-
it's
I've-
changed
I've
a
gone-
little bit.
I've gone jeeping before, and Jeep trails are super narrow. And the reason why Jeeps are still so popular in the off-roading community is because a lot of those trails are too narrow for like a Humvee or probably even a Cybertruck. So I would wonder, how useful it would even be, because some of the nicer trails out there are more Jeep oriented and narrow.
Sure.
I don't know. Interesting. That'll be a fun thing to play with.
Randy, are you secretly hoping that the Cybertruck is delayed for financial reasons?
Oh,
I am.
absolutely.
Oh,
not
I
even,
am. My God.
Not even
Yeah, please, yes.
secretly.
You're just
way.
like, no, it won't be ready till 2022, 2023 probably. Because, pandemic and stuff. Of course it's delayed.
Just yesterday, when I showed my wife the comparison between what we saw and what they're showing now, she's like, "Oh, it's smaller, which means it could technically be cheaper." And then she goes, "'Cause you're still gonna buy me my truck, right, babe?" And I was just like, "No." So I was like, I told her, it's like, listen, if Tesla stock blows up again the way it did a couple months ago, and I'm keeping my stake in now, so I'm where I want to be. If it does it again, I mean, we could have a good, decent down payment, but I told her, like, I don't want to pay for it outright. I just
That's a lot.
I'm not. So the thing is, like, for me, on my side, like, House Vasquez is probably going to be a Tesla truck owner or Cybertruck owner, and I accept that. But Randy is just, he's fine waiting as long as it takes. Like, I have no hurry. It's not my cup of tea, but I also acknowledge that it's not just my call anymore. So it's part of the deal, I guess. She is a truck fanatic in the sense that she likes trucks. We just have never been in a position where we can have them, and she's been so adamant about this truck, and I'm like, all right. But secretly, yeah, if it got delayed till 2025, like, you'll never see me complain.
I'll complain externally,
darn.
but I'll complain because I'm impatient, but I'm secretly excited that it's taking a little bit longer, because I can use every single second I can get to save up as much of a down payment as possible.
For sure.
This will be
Amen,
an expensive
brother.
vehicle.
That's why so many
I'll wait.
people are probably going to hold on to the reservations as long as they can, because they're
Yeah.
no, I'm getting it, but just not yet. I'll wait. I still don't have one, and I don't think I'm going to reserve one anytime soon. My wife really does not like the look of it. She's not a fan.
Sucks to be her, because it's amazing.
It's amazing.
She does like the Model 3 and Y, which are out, so I'm the variable
Yeah.
on that one. So we're just waiting on being ready for that. But yeah, the factories are all shut down still. So, did you see the tow hitch option? Would you guys
the
get
Model
that
Y?
on a Model Y?
So funny story. I actually have a tow. Sorry, my volume was up. I have a tow strap on my Ford Escape, and
They're pretty
so
common.
that little car doesn't have any proper towing ability. As it has a car transmission in it. It has a little bit more powerful than a little car motor in it. It's a V6. I don't know how many horse, but anyway, it's a little bit more beefy. The only reason why I have the tow hitch on there is because in the snow, when you go sliding off the road, finding a good tow point is very difficult, especially when you can't get to the one under the front of the car. And by default, most cars don't really have many good tow points to begin with. So having a hitch on the back is just an easily accessible tow point and anchorage point for $150, $200 or how much it costs to get a tow hitch installed. It's nothing fancy. I don't use it to tow anything, but the times I have used it are to tow other cars out of ditches, and I love my little Escape. It pulled a F-250 out of a ditch on a snowy day because I had snow tires and I had all-wheel drive. I was very proud of my little car. I'm still proud of it. That's just why I'm talking about it now on an EV podcast, even though it's not an EV. Go ahead, Drew.
So would you get a tow hitch on a Model Y if you were getting one?
I'm not getting a Model Y, so I don't have to worry about that.
Okay, we're gonna ignore you. How about you, Randy?
Well, thank you for wasting our time. That's what I heard.
I loved hearing about your stupid gas car's tow hitch, though. That was fantastic.
Would I get a tow hitch on a Model Y or 3?
Yeah.
You said?
Or not just a Y. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
$1,000 extra, is that worth it?
Randy, no.
Well, but hang on. It's relative to the fact that like I dropped like a lot of money on a wrap that was completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And on Full Self Driving, which is at the time not the most relevant thing. So, what's $1,000 in the scheme of that?
I don't know. Let's think of a different situation. I don't know. You get in a wreck. Your car insurance covers the entire price of the vehicle. You get to buy a new Tesla now. You could buy a Model Y, equal price or whatever. Like you need to check out. Would you get it with a tow hitch? Spend the extra grand, or do you not think you'd use it?
I don't think I would use it then. Not
okay.
In that scenario. Like if I had a clean slate today for the next 3 to 5 years, I don't see a practical use for it. I do see a practical use when I leave this place and I get like a house and things. When my life changes, style, family growth, whatever, I can see more use cases. In the immediate future, immediate as in within the next 3 to 5 years, no.
Okay, I would use it because our SUV growing up, we always had a bike rack on the back that was really easy to set up because it just plugged right into that tow hitch. So we didn't even tow that regularly, but because we liked using it for mountain biking and we could fit like 4 bikes on that rack, like I think I would probably want to get it. $1,000 extra, but you can have all that practicality on the back because I don't like putting stuff on the roof. That makes me nervous.
It's too hard to get up and get to, unless you had a Cybertruck that goes. Psh, all the way
listen,
down.
if you put it on a glass roof, that's
And also the roof rack they have now for the Model Y kind of kills the whole panoramic glass thing. You have this whole single sheet going from the back to the front, and now you put this big rail across the center. It's like, well,
10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times it'll make sense on the Cybertruck or just a truck in general.
I wouldn't need a bike rack on a truck.
I'm talking about the hitch.
Yeah,
having a hitch with just the tow things is its design, it's its DNA. But even a bike rack, and I say Cybertruck because stainless steel all around. Yeah, go crazy with it for all that matters. But you do have a risk factor. I feel like regardless, with a full glass, roof. I think people should put the $1,000 into a hitch just to protect your glass. Like that's going to be expensive to replace if something happens. If something was faulty or you didn't stress something down right, and it just goes. The thought of sometimes a pine cone falls on my car, and I go, and I just.
It's pretty strong, to be fair.
I know, but you still like when you drop your phone face down and it's Schroeder's iPhone, and you go.
I would freak out too, but at the same time, like, have you seen
glass breaks?
It does break, but have you seen those tests where they put a ton of pressure on the glass roofs?
No.
They've like broken the machine before because of how strong the glass is. Like there's a picture of like a massive accident that happened, and there's a car that's on top of a Model 3 and the glass didn't break. Like sitting on the weight is on the roof. It's way stronger than it didn't go through. But the whole point being a lot of people don't realize how fragile the roof of their car is because most use like really thin, very basic metal that you notice if you if you try to stand on top of your car or sit on it, it starts warping right away.
Yeah.
Boom, that noise. It's because there's basically nothing. I mean, it's wind protection, but not much is needed to break through that kind of roof. Whereas a glass roof, most people have the mentality of, well, it's glass so it breaks. It's like, it's pretty dang thick though. It doesn't shatter or penetrate as easily as every other car with a standard roof these days. So safer than you'd think, because glass, we just assume, it would instantly shatter. So throw those pine cones at it, Franz.
How
through all
dare
the pine cones.
How dare? And then I would be the case that's the live demo of Cybertruck.
You would be the live demo. Exactly.
I would be the
I
live
wonder
demo.
what they're
Oh
doing
my
with
God!
the glass. Wonder what they're doing with the glass now after that demo.
They're shooting it.
They're. I don't want to know what they're doing to that glass because it's probably against the Geneva Convention somewhere. But that glass is going through heck. It will be perfect by the time it's done.
It better be.
This is the
Honestly,
same
they're
material.
probably going to use that same glass on the Starship rocket.
I was just about to say, this is the same material that's going to be going in space and Mars and
yeah.
all that stuff.
Cybertruck is designed to survive re-entry of the atmosphere. I don't know why you'd be in
probably
that
could.
situation, but you'd be fine. Maybe the tires would be gone.
if Elon Musk accidentally launched you in your car, in your Cybertruck, on a big Falcon rocket, and you're coming back from a Mars trajectory,
Yeah.
re-entering the Earth's atmosphere at, 25,000
It's funny
feet
that
per
we
second.
can't say, well, Tesla doesn't shoot its cars into space. Like, no? Well, they have done
They
that.
do. They do now.
So you don't know what you got to be prepared for. But, yeah, Cybertruck is definitely...
What if... Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I hope that the fundamentals of the design don't change that much. That's all I'm saying. Is that
Yeah.
I'm okay with the little tweaks here and there, but I'm also hoping that the side view mirror thing isn't
True.
like the laws
Oh
can
my
change
gosh.
before that.
Hey,
And
did you
the
see
main
that
important
article?
Yeah,
About
I
the,
saw that article that they're
yeah.
working on the laws for changing the side view mirrors thing. But
That would be amazing.
I don't think you're going to have a fundamental change that will happen. If there is a fundamental change that does happen, it's to improve the truck, not take something away. And I think
Yeah.
it would be a welcomed change. Otherwise, the little adjustments that's happening, I feel like that's kind of inevitable because vehicles, much like other tech, consumer tech, they do go through changes because of advancements in technology. But
Yeah.
unlike consumer tech, just because they are being adjusted in lifetime, you're not updating your vehicle annually or biannually. Minimum is every 3 years because of a lease. But and even then, there's new tech that will be put into it or some type of efficiency for the hardware equivalent that would be put into it. So we're just seeing it happen in lifetime and with a production of it. And it's not like these are things that are being shipped. But I think ultimately these are welcome changes. But you're not going to change the structural design of the whole thing. And if it is changed, I'm positive it would be a welcomed change. It's not like, man, but that last one had 20 miles less range, but it looks so big. I think practicality of the whole thing too.
What I'm looking at the screenshot or the Twitter article that you sent, Drew, with the two Cybertrucks, the render and the original. I think there might be room for a plus and a regular sized Cybertruck.
well, they talked about doing that, right?
Like,
I think
yeah,
it may-
obviously
Talked about that.
not anytime soon. It would come later, but like I could totally see both of those vehicles on the roads next to each other, and like
especially
here's
if they
the-
wanted to bring it to Europe, because Europe doesn't do well
True.
with big trucks. And
yeah, good
anytime I talk about the Cybertruck, someone pitches in the Discord from Europe, and that's like, that won't do well here. Doesn't pass, EU legislation. I'm like, that's not the target. Like you guys don't have that many pickups in the first place. They're targeting the F-150. So if you can beat all the functionality of the F-150, then you've got a moneymaker on your hands. Plus it's electric, so cost saving, exoskeleton. Age is way better and all that. So that's their primary demographic. But once they want to start moving towards other demographics, then I think making a smaller sized variant. Yeah, I remember talking about that originally because I was a big fan of the Ford Ranger size.
I do remember this now. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
What
Would
if
you get-
what if the cabin was pressurized? This is obviously buying into the future where we'll all be going to Mars at some point. But like, what if you could take your Cybertruck with you to Mars and it would work as like a pressurized transport vehicle? Like the bed would have to be full of like oxygen to repressurize the cabin every time you open the door.
Or could you
And
drive it
equipment.
into the ocean?
Or drive it into the ocean. That would
Like
be cool
that's
too.
the more realistic. It's like,
It would
why is he
just
saying
float.
Mars? You could just take it in the water.
Like
That would be
those
cool, too.
concept renderings, or it's just
Yeah.
floating on the water. I don't
It's
know.
a James Bond vehicle at that point.
I think it's still too heavy. It's not very, even with the air inside.
If it was airtight, it wouldn't sink.
I would get claustrophobic so quick.
I would just be nervous the whole time. I don't know. That would make me nervous. I have no desire to take.
It's like a waterproof
truck in the water.
smartphone. Now our smartphones are all waterproof, so we're just like, oh yeah, if it gets wet, it's no problem.
Well, Teslas for a
If
brief amount of time are
water-resistant.
waterproof. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Water
what I
resistant.
mean. Like you see those videos of the Model X's driving through like a storm where they're can't even see out the windshield.
They'll float for a
and
second.
No other cars can do that, but Teslas can for a second. What if Cybertruck allowed you to do that? For just
A
have
little
a quick
bit longer.
cruise out to the the Catalina Islands or something, or
Given
you
the
know,
design, air pressuring it doesn't sound that complicated. Seems
especially
like
with
it
a strong
wouldn't-
glass. Because
Yeah.
glass is the weak point in any spacecraft or anything like that. Any kind of pressure differential, like it's the glass. Then their glass is going to be unbelievably durable.
Elon
So-
said it would be the truck of Mars. That's what it's for.
Yeah, but
Fill some
Elon
oxygen
also did
Truck
tanks
so
in the
bad.
bed.
Oh, well, now we just ruined my setup. Never mind.
Go ahead. Here's the
No,
setup.
Oh, no. Okay, say it again so I can cut it. Just say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Go ahead.
You could put oxygen tanks in the bed.
No, say that Elon did say blah, blah, blah. Say it.
Oh, okay. Elon did say it would be the official truck of Mars.
Ah, but Elon also did say, oh, my God, when it didn't work. So,
Oh. Well, that's
You
what
know.
he'd be saying if he was in it while it didn't work on Mars.
They'll
But
He'd
it's
be like,
okay.
oh, my.
Oh my! They'll test it with rats or something first.
Oh yeah, just rats.
It can drive itself, so they can throw it out there, see how it does. But did you see the early access program? More people are getting access to the stop sign and stoplight. Like, it looks way more simple than I thought. Like, it goes
Yeah.
all the way to the stop, and then you just go yes, and then it keeps going.
Boom, boom.
Oh, I'm glad they're getting closer. And something else I'm really concerned about, because Elon has said this is coming pretty quickly, but within the next few months they want to start rolling out reverse summon. I don't know
What's
how
that?
well that's going to work.
Wait.
Oh, go to parking spot. Okay.
Reverse summons when you get out
okay.
of the car at the location you're going to, and then the car goes and parks itself.
That would be amazing.
Bleep. I would lose my bleep over it.
I don't think it's going to work that well. Knowing how original Smart Summon worked, I think the initial launch of Reverse Summon is going to be very, very bumpy.
If you are in the way of my non-passenger or my non-human driving vehicle, you're in the wrong.
This is true.
You're in the wrong.
You're in the
What
wrong.
happens if there's no parking space?
Then it'll go boom boom.
It'll throw its hands in the air.
It's gonna start R2D'ing me this.
No, like, I can't wait to see the YouTube tests of that, because obviously,
I can't wait to see the crashes that come from it.
Yeah, it's gonna have to start looking. That makes it way more complicated, because not only, like, the first version of Smart Summon is way more simple. Leave parking space, go to owner. Now it's leave owner, find parking space that's vacant, and then park. How is it going to be able to register? Like, I can fit in there, or
It's not going to work right now for sure, because I will tell you that when I self-park, when it's like bring the car to a complete stop and then turn on the reverse parking and it parks,
Yeah.
every single day I do, or not every single day now because, quarantined. But
Yeah.
when I used to come home, I always back in. And every time I come home, I bring the car to a stop, engage the auto parking. What it shows me on the diagram of the rectangle turn to park in and what I'm actually pulling into my carport are not the same. When I'm like actually going like this on the screen, it still has it like this. So it's like turning the wheels, turn the wheels.
It's confused.
And then it goes do. Can't do it. And I'm like, oh, come on. So I will say it's gonna be self-parking that same way. And if it sees a spot that's open and it thinks it's like this, when really it's like this still, it's gonna just completely screw up and it's gonna go wrong. And it's not ready now, and I think you're right, Drew. It's gonna be complete. It needs more work. The beta of it so far is trash. That's my least favorite automated thing I have so far about the car is the parking in reverse thing. It just it doesn't work. It's something that's simple, and I have a pretty big open carport, and it can't. Oh my god, I'm freaking out! It just can't do it. So
That's what I'm worried about. I feel like that reverse summon thing is not going to be, because it's way different to say, keep an eye on the car and now watch it as it comes to you than it is to say, get out of the car and now it's going to go off and do its own thing. Like, what happens if something goes wrong? Does it ping your phone? Oh my God, go back to the car quick. Run back. Does it start freaking out? Hey, or maybe at first it's going to be like, you have to watch it the whole time. Like, you have to watch it until it parks. They'll start it off with like empty parking lots. You can reverse summon if no one else is in there. But yeah, I'm worried about the rollout of that, because I already know. I remember seeing some videos of people getting into accidents with the initial smart summon. So I hope they can figure that out. I hope they can fix it. But
yeah,
I'm worried about that autopilot rollout. I mean, the navigate on autopilot is decent, but the summon stuff worries me a lot.
What it is the anxiety that like you have no immediate control of it.
Yeah, you can't just jump in and take over real quick.
I'm assuming for the immediate future, what it is the same thing. Like, you have to hold the button as it parks itself and
watch the whole thing happen.
You have to watch the whole thing, which at this point, much like me trying to pull into my carport, it just takes too much move. Sometimes, and I get what Elon meant when he said it. Sometimes it's just easier to just have a human do it. We have coordination that's so intuitive.
Yeah.
We're so. As cool as technology is in the EV, the human brain is just so much more complex. Like, okay, move. I'm just gonna do it. Done. I 10 out of 10 times I'm gonna want to parallel park, and I hate parallel parking, but I'm gonna do it because it's easier for me to do it as much as an annoyance it is. And right now, 10 out of 10 times, I'm just gonna back into my own carport. I'm going to park my own car. Something that requires, if there's a legal issue at play, even though I signed all the waivers, if I can cause an accident that I'm liable for something, I'm not going to be an early adopter for that. It'll be cool to try it out in an extremely safe environment, but in real life usage in the next year or so, I just, I don't feel comfortable doing all that.
I wonder
stuff.
how you could test it. Go to an empty parking lot and put like giant cardboard boxes in parking spaces.
There you go.
So that if it messes up, it's just moving the.
No,
box
you know what
over.
I'm gonna do, Drew? Is I'm gonna take all those soundproofing foam you're gonna give me, and I'm just gonna make
there you
stuff
go.
out of them.
That's your fake car. That's how they can demo it. But personally, here's an interesting question for you. I think the summoning features, whether it be smart summon or reverse summon, are going to be the biggest holdup on feature complete FSD. I have complete faith that they're going to figure out the stop lights and the stop signs. I've already seen videos of that, and it proves to me that it can do it reliably, pretty consistently. And they're training the neural net now with those early access testers, and then when they roll it out to everybody else, it'll get better and better. And then I even think it is going to be easier to master turning than summon. The art of being at an intersection and having a green arrow or a red arrow, or being at a red light, but you have permission you just got to stop and then turn right. I think you can teach a computer to make those turns a lot easier than you can go find a parking space. What do you guys think?
Huh.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. It's easier when turns are your only objective, like input wise on a computer, and stay between lines and acknowledge objects in motion, easy. Or things that are stationary, easy. I don't think it's easy to assess the surroundings of something.
Yeah.
Can I park here? Will I fit? Is there something obstructing something that I can't see?
Right.
Will other passengers or other drivers next to me, can they get into their car? Am I going
Right.
to be that? Am I going to be that prick who doesn't?
Will the
let
Tesla
them get
park in such a tight spot that no one can get out?
and the mirrors go, or the side mirrors closes like that, and just to fit. Like, what's the risk the computer's willing to make to fit into a spot? Is this the best? Is this the most convenient spot? Is it the safest spot? Is it the practical spot? There's all these other equations that are applied to the computer that makes it go, yes. What's the risk reward factor? You know, as opposed to I got to make a left at this light. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
I think
So-
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
So eventually, both the pieces need to be there: the highway driving, street driving, and the reverse and auto summon features. They both need to be there eventually. I think you're right, Drew. The highway and roads are going to be a lot quicker and easier to do, but I don't think it's impossible to do the reverse summon and summons.
No, I wouldn't say impossible.
They're going to get there. It's going to take probably 2 more years than what it took to get it feature complete for surface roads. But it'll get there eventually. And until then, FSD is really just going to be a toy and allow you to play around with your phone a little bit more. It like grocery stores, busy places, anywhere where parking is congested, a mall, anything like that. That's really going to be one of the defining features of full self-driving is it can, you don't have to drive all the way there. It'll drop you off at the front door. You go into your shopping 3 or 4 minutes before you want to leave. You tell your phone, hey, come meet me at the front door. Or you tell your car, hey, come meet me at the front door. And it's just out there waiting for you. Exactly. And that's the idealistic future, and it will get there eventually because Elon Musk is yet to not deliver something. May take longer and be a little bit different than how we originally expected, but yeah, it will happen eventually.
I agree it will happen eventually. I mostly just think that'll be the last piece of the full self-driving feature complete. Like the portion
and like
of
off-roads, like crazy stuff without lines.
Tougher road conditions would be difficult too, but I still honestly think that the neural net, because of how much data they've collected from their fleet, is going to get really, really good at detecting what's drivable and what's not drivable, and where do I need to be and where do I not need to be. I think I can imagine how you can train an AI in software to get better at that, whereas the issues Randy's talked about, I feel like sound more fundamental. They sound like very much the camera's not understanding the situation or the location of where they are and how the car is like not grasping the little details of it. When it comes to like the turning, honestly, it sounds fairly simple to me. Like you can essentially look at GPS data even and figure out how much of a arc you need to make during that turning process, whether it's a 90-degree turn or a 60-degree turn, and figure that out just by looking at map data and your surroundings. You can see, hey, I'm between these lines right now. I'm going to move to these lines. So I just need to arc a little bit. And honestly, once you have stoplights, stop signs, turning, complete 90-degree turns, roundabouts, that kind of thing, you have covered so much of autonomy at that point. And I'm really, really excited to be in a future where the only time I grab the wheel is like getting on to the road and parking the car. If that's all I have to intervene with, that's still an amazing feature. That's still next level. That's still way further ahead than anybody else right now when it comes to autonomy on your vehicle. But I think that big holdup for feature complete is going to be teaching the car how to go park itself or come get you. Like there's so many variables in that. Like legitimately, I want to ask Elon, like, what if there's no parking spaces? Does the car scream at you? Like, does your phone scream back at you like, hey, come get me, come get me? Hold on, I can't.
It'll just keep circling around. It'll keep
looping and waiting for someone to back.
It's waiting until it will keep circling around for infinity until something happens.
Yeah.
What if full self-driving does it? I'm making a joke and then you could get serious with it. But what if full self-driving goes? It sees a spot, another car's trying to get that spot, and it goes, "Screw you!" and then takes it. Because that's another thing too. It's very passive. It'll be like, there's a spot. Oh, someone's trying to park block a spot, and then the Tesla
Yeah.
car goes, oh, okay, I guess I gotta look for the next one. It's like, or will my full self driving go, no, F you, man, boom, hit you. And then,
It's all about that driver setting mode, ridiculous or ludicrous or whatever the
Mad Max.
Yeah.
Mad Max. Thank you, Mad Max.
Yeah.
Mad Max
But
Parking Edition.
my thought is, what if all of the Teslas, right, are a part of a network? So they all know where each other are. They all can talk to each other through the internet. And what if, like,
that'd be cool.
in a parking lot where like 5% of the vehicles are Teslas and they're all talking to each other, and one Tesla's like, hey, I'm going to start leaving in a few minutes. If you want to get over here, if it's like a full parking lot, like, hey, this spot's about to be available in 2 minutes, so start getting over here. And I don't know, that could be interesting.
That would be really cool.
How would they know when they're going to
Management
leave?
Well, it could be like calendar based, like my human's calendar has said that
Or-
their appointment is their haircut appointment's
charging
almost
slots are
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like, oh, this is going to be done charging in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So there has to be.
Yeah,
I mean,
when it-
granted,
Remember the prototype for the self plug-in thing?
Yeah.
Yes, the little
When are
snake
they going to
thing.
roll that? When are they going to start? Like, even if the car's not driving itself yet, we're not using reverse summon. They should still start rolling that out. Imagine,
this is
totally.
my universal response. Boom, boom.
yeah, like
shrug.
that prototype is years old now. It's like
I know, that would be-
5-6 years.
That's kind of also fundamentally part of like road tripping with full self driving. Like
Yeah,
if I'm thinking like, oh, I want to road trip somewhere, and full self driving is going to be able to do most of it. In order to have full self driving do all of it, I need to basically be able to sleep the entire way, which means it needs to handle charging at superchargers. It needs to handle getting on and off highways through stoplights,
I mean, like
stop
that.
signs.
That would be handy now, even
Exactly, yeah,
without
true.
full self driving. If you could, Randy, imagine like it's raining outside or something, and you park at a supercharger, and the plug just, and you're done.
That would be
auto
awesome.
docking.
That would be
awesome.
even more seamless than it is now. It's like,
It's
I mean,
pretty seamless right now.
it's pretty seamless now. You just have to pick it up
But
and
you have
plug
to
it in.
get
But
out
if you
like
didn't even
some
have to
kind of
get
ape.
out, then we're talking whole new levels of flexing on peasants. You know, you're like, oh, you have to get out of your car to charge it. What's wrong with you? That would give them a
Ew.
significant advantage.
You must
over,
have the Model 3 and not the Model 8 or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, peasant.
But no, that's
with
what I
your
mean. Like,
Model
you don't
S.
have to change your cars. They wouldn't have
Yeah.
to change anything about vehicle production. All they would have to do is start mass producing those things, which don't require batteries. So what's the holdup? It's just a bunch of, maybe it's really expensive to make or something. It's just basically a bunch of motors.
It's a moving part. Yeah.
It's a moving part.
You have to
Maybe
have
you're
someone
worried
service
about
those.
abusing them, people messing around with them, maybe. But
Maybe. Well, it'd be no different than right now. People can screw with the charging stations now, but
they're a lot
you
cheaper.
know what it is a lot cheaper. I think what it is coordination. To tell you the truth, like how I back up won't be 100% symmetrical with the car next to me on either side. The only thing that's
What if
universal is
AutoPark
that we
Fix
all
does
back
that?
up. That's there you go. That's a thing, and that might fix that. But until you can have every car in those slots parked the exact same way, the coordination of a moving part to hook just right will not. It just won't do it. It goes back to that. It's like, it's just easier if I just do it myself, because it's like.
Well, it's got the Model S and X have those little rings of color that can help.
Yeah.
The camera
Well-
on the charge plug help.
Yeah.
It's all about the complexity, right? Like right now we're talking about like a complex snake arm that's like discovering where the hole is in regards to its charger and lining it up and getting it in there just perfectly.
The snake hole.
What if
Parks and Rec
what's her
reference.
face? I know, yeah. Janice Snakehole. I'm Janice,
Janice
Snakehole.
Snakehole. That's what it is.
Anyway, what
Is
if
that what
that
they call
complexity
it?
was removed, and instead of it being some complex snake arm, more investment was made into auto park, where every single car will always park it so that little thing is in the same spot, regardless of what vehicle or Tesla or size or whatever, so that the little arm can just be like a simple drop down and like plug in.
I have one easier for you. This and it's
Okay.
practical. It's realistic today. It happens today. A physical barrier is on the ground that stops the car from moving without it actually making contact with the charging station behind it when you're backing up. So you could back up and still bump into something where your tire makes contact with it, and the sensor is lined just right where it goes boom boom stop, and you're not going to still hit the charging station when you're backing up. Like you have to actively I want to just destroy my trunk. Smack. Got
Except it wouldn't make that sound.
That's true.
Stop doing that.
Yeah, there you go.
So they just all they need to do is just you don't need to fix something that's not broken. All you need to do is just implement a little bump the same way we have normal, in a parking lot. You got these little boop right there where the car makes contact with it simultaneously. There's a sensor that says stop, because all the sensors are the same about reading its proximity behind it. So implement a physical line that you can see you the driver as a rear view backup, and it's like right there. And because I put a tape on my carport, I have a tape I put down that I know when to stop every single time I back up, and I stop there 100% of the time. And I know that means I'm completely covered on full fronts, where I won't, when it rains or whatever. It's San Diego, it doesn't rain until last month. But I get full protection. In the same way, like just put something down and then it stops it, and that's the good interim until you have something that's more technologically advanced to help you get that. But
I just had a
big brain.
really hilarious, stupid idea that will never happen, but it's funny to imagine. So you have those snake arms that they start installing at every supercharger.
Okay,
and
Janice.
obviously that's how it charges. It plugs in and it has a camera on it, can find everything. But if a car that isn't a Tesla parks there, then it just goes crazy and starts whacking the car as hard as it can. So when those big truckers would park in the Tesla superchargers and they're like, occupy them. So then the snake arm just goes dum dum dum, and breaks the tail.
Better yet, the snake arm has a little key that comes out of it, and it just
how the turntables.
Pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah, no. That's why I said it would never happen. But it would be a hilarious April Fool's Day video they could make if some jerk parks into a supercharger, the arm just starts whacking it and denting it, and then they're like, hey, you weren't supposed to park there. So
I wouldn't even be that mad. I'd be like, that's just as what's a real thing that happens, and I get frustrated by it, and it is what it is. I've seen people take a parking spot at the supercharging slots when there's no other parking, and I mean Teslas. I'm not saying non-EVs, but a Tesla will take it, and they don't even plug in. Like they fake plug in.
Wait, you can fake plug in? Like you leave it kind of there, but not all the way?
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of a jerk move, because then they don't
That's
get charged.
a very jerk move, Randy.
It is very. I tried it. I wanted to see if it worked.
Oh, just once, huh?
Just once.
Because then you won't get charged for it, right?
You don't get charged for it. Now, if you
because they don't know you're there wasting time.
So on the map it says like
Available, but it isn't. Oh, that is a jerk move.
But I will say that in true nature that Nick, I won't do it if it's completely like there's a line of people. I will do it when I'm stopping in for like a quick second, in and out. I did do it. I was like, huh. And that's when I noticed it. A lot of people do it. And I was like, I wasn't using big brain. A lot of people do this. But
Has
however,
there ever been a line at a supercharger where you are?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The supercharger near me, I've never seen more than one car at every time I go there.
Your population is like 20, so I don't, I'm not
Not
that
there.
strong.
This isn't in my town. This is outside of my town.
The casino?
No, that's not a supercharger.
The one next to In-N-Out.
No, it's not next to In-N-Out. There's one in Chico that's like 14 stalls.
Oh, okay. Did they just install that one, or was that the one we visited last time?
No, you didn't. They didn't install it when you guys were here. This was after that.
Wait a minute. I swore the casino had supercharging.
No, it had wall charging. It didn't have
like
supercharging.
Oh,
That's different.
Okay, it's like
I'm saying
sitting here
there's
like, did I make that
There's
up in my
14
head?
stalls there, and it's always like one car maybe. A lot of the time we go there and there's no one plugged in.
I could tell you peak hours, like rush hour traffic and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm driving from work to home, and I want to stop at the one big mall that we have that has everything. There is a line at that point, but that's the only time I've seen a line. Anywhere else, there's about consistently maybe 5 slots that are open, or there's always a constant turnover that's happening. So you see people waiting and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to see, granted, San Diego, okay, we're not the
Very
smallest,
populated. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm starting to see more and more vehicles either waiting in line and then going, you know what, forget this, it's not worth it. And I see so many Teslas just park throughout the whole lot at that point. But I'm also seeing more add-ons to charging stations happening because
You
like,
are.
they're running out of room. Like we need more, and I'm like, wow, is this? At what point? It makes me think. At what point are we going to lose the free charging for the tier 2? I think we're starting to the early adoption of EVs like that. I think we're starting to see the curve slowly start to tip as we lose more and more incentives, like tax rebates and stuff like that. But it correlates with they're everywhere. I see a Tesla everywhere. I've yet to see a Model Y, but I see 3s everywhere. 3 is every single day outside of mine. I see a Model 3, and I'm like,
I
was
see a
gonna
Model
say.
3 in my garage every day.
every single day, baby. Every day. You know what? I see a green 3 every day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's growing fast. It's going to be interesting to see how fast the Cybertrucks grow, knowing how heavily in demand those are. It's Model 3 like exponentially higher because of the practicality of it. And it's going to stand out like a sore thumb too.
I can't
It's gonna
wait.
be
Oh, those stairs
super
are gonna
noticeable.
be to die for. Ugh.
We had all the Cybertruck memes in November because it just came out, and now it's kind of dying down because it's like in the future. But once they start rolling out and people start seeing them, I think the internet's going to blow up with Cybertruck memes again
The
because they're
same
going
way
to start.
AirPods blew up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Except it was a
And-
while
and-
after they initially
AirPods
launched.
memes were very different. Like when the first AirPods came out, like, oh, they just cut the wires.
They're ugly. They're ugly.
And the same people are making fun. Oh, Cybertruck looks like low render quality. But we don't even know what the joke's going to be in 3 years or whatever. It'll be like,
If it becomes a meme,
are you broke? Are you from
statistically,
space?
if it becomes
But
a
then,
meme,
yeah.
it becomes successful.
But
Oh,
then
yeah.
AirPods became the flex. Now it's the rich person
Exactly.
thing. Now it's, oh, you got money, you got AirPods. And I think Cybertruck,
No, I'm just
Not-
an Apple
not
sheep
the rich
who spends
thing.
exorbitant amounts of money.
You
on
got a
Apple
cable?
products.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were poor.
Yeah.
You got wired headphones.
You have a gas
Cybertruck
engine?
will have
Oh, I'm so
something
sorry. I
like
didn't know
that.
you were
Probably
poor.
not the same because it's not like traditional, just expensive car. It's actually pretty reasonable. But
Yeah,
they'll have something
from space or DeLorean.
some
or Back to the
stigma
Future or
thing
something.
about it. Like
Yeah.
movie characters will have it, or people in TV shows will have it, and
Yeah.
it makes a statement, kind of like the Hummer,
James
but
Bond
better.
will have it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, if this is not in the next James Bond, that is why that is why the next James Bond has been delayed over to the summer. That is why. They're waiting on the Cybertruck from Elon.
I'm sold.
I don't know how you're going to use the truck in the movie though. There's no gear shift, so
Well, that's okay. They'll just have the underwater mode and the
So when
you know,
they're in the
the
car,
ejector
they're just-
Q
seat.
always finds a way. He knows.
they're driving like this. Cut to the bad guys, and they're drifting, and then the guy in the truck's like,
It would make
And then-
Fast
and then you
Furious
see
movies
him
very
touch on this-
boring.
That is true. You see him touch the screen is like from standard to ludicrous, and he just clicks it and then just peels out and leaves the
He wants to-
McLarens behind.
"Do you
With
think
your
they'll
cabin
not bring
pressure
over
all
the?
relaxed.
Will they not bring the gear shift? Will it actually be a touchscreen thing?
I hope that it's on this touchscreen. Did you guys notice? Someone tweeted out a picture. I don't know if this is like from Tesla or I don't know, but it's like an actual picture of a Cybertruck in the design studio, not a render.
Yeah.
And
I sent you that.
the center display looks a lot like an iPad. Like a
Yes.
third gen iPad Pro that's all boxy and has the uniform bezel. Like
Mm-hmm.
it looks more like an iPad than the Model 3s looked like an iPad Pro first generation.
The Model 3
Like-
looks like the original iPad.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Kinda.
yeah. It kind of the curved corners,
Like
on
the
the back.
iPad 2,
Exactly.
with the
Yeah,
curved
iPad
back.
2. That's
Yeah,
probably the closest correlation. But this one
a
looks like
15-inch version.
a third or fourth generation iPad Pro that's like very boxy and yet rounded, and it looks like they just pasted a 17-inch iPad.
I'm
up
just
there.
trying
It's
to
like,
imagine
oh.
if it's more practical or ergonomic to touch the screen to change gears than it would be.
The thing is,
to-
though, at some point you're not even going to need to change the gears, though. Like you get in the car, close the door, put your seatbelt on, put your foot on the brake. You should just go. There should be no reason to.
Why do you have to
tap
put your foot on the brake?
Well, that'll be the way to turn it on to signal that you're ready to start rolling. Just like with the Model X, I believe with the Model X you don't even need
But
to use
it
the gear
doesn't
shifter
know
if
how
don't
you
want to.
parked. What if you need to go forward, not backward?
Well, maybe
You
it'll
gotta tell
default
it.
to forward, and you'll have to remember to go to reverse if you. And that'll cause some problems. I don't know. Elon
gotta
figured
reach
out,
out and-
read my brain, use Neuralink to figure out which direction I want to go.
I feel like it's pretty close, but it's something you can't feel though. That's the difference of like with the gear thing, you don't have to look at it. You can just push down and you're already good to go. With the touch display, you have to check. You have to be like,
Yeah.
there, I'm pressing there. I don't think it's much of a muscle memory that you can just reach out
That's
and
true.
tap R versus D. So I don't know. They might bring the gear shifter back.
What if it uses all the sensors to figure out which direction you need to go anyway? Because a lot of times you're in a parking spot and there's only one way out, either forward or backwards.
Maybe. Could it figure that out?
Probably could.
It
Like
could
the
try.
ultrasonic sensors.
What would
be
you
like-
prefer, Randy? What would you prefer?
As the Tesla owner of the group.
Yeah,
well,
you're the one who has
first-
experience.
Yeah, the first thing I was going to say is that even though there's a physical motion to reverse or drive, I still look at the screen to ensure because you
Yeah.
can slip into neutral if you're not
Yeah.
on accident. Granted, you have to actively try to really get yourself in neutral, but it is possible. I always look at the screen just to make sure because I bring the vehicle to a stop. Then I'm watching as to do it. Just I need a validation that it does it. I don't rely on boop boop like that.
You look
I
anyway.
can't. I will. It's just not
More
my
accurately.
habit.
Boop, boop. Remember like those 2014 videos where like the people with the Model S would like mash the gas pedal at the accelerator and then just fly into a storefront because they thought they were in reverse.
Yes.
You got to stop making those rev noises, though.
Ah, true. Yeah. I mean,
Hey, but hey, I can't. I can't do it. My throat's not there yet. But anyway,
So you wouldn't mind the touch display, you mean?
I
Mute him. How do we hang up?
ill.
Never make that sound
Ugly
again.
noise, ugly boy. No.
ow.
That's why I tell my dog, and like, no, ugly noise, ugly dog. So I would say, looking at the screen, so the minimalist in me is like, yeah, take away everything, put it all on the screen.
Yeah.
However, that'll never happen. I don't think it can happen because you can still drive with the screen off and do a reset that way. You can't shift gears in at that point, and now the vehicle itself to be just a car or a truck or whatever is now compromised. I think for safety reasons it can never be on the screen. As much as I would like it to, just for boop, and it's futuristic, it's minimal, everything's now UI and software. For safety reasons, I've reset up my car, the computer part of it while driving many times, and I'm driving.
But you're
blind,
not
and I'm like,
changing gears while driving.
no, but the point I'm making is you can turn off the software
Yeah.
to do a restart at any point.
I get that,
Wow.
but you're not going to start the car and start moving it without the display.
There are
on.
times where it can glitch out. It can get buggy, and I've had that happen to me. Luckily, nothing where it's like I need to bring the car to stop and do a hard reset where you put your foot on the brake and reset. But it has happened at very inopportune times, and just that small percentage of a chance it's not. I don't think it's worth the risk at that point, so to say. And I feel like it's easier if you have you should have vital control functions happening. Even if everything else fails, it can still operate. Worst case scenario as a vehicle. So I don't think it will happen, but yes, I would prefer just touching it, or even better, voice command. You know, there's a
That's your
validation
backup.
process.
There you go.
That's true. That's
What if-
the validation. You have to make contact with the steering wheel and sit and hold down a button so that way someone can't troll you and be like reverse or whatever, you know, like something like that. So that way it knows that it's the driver, it's you, and you're not being trolled.
What if crap, I had a point. Oh no. The door of the Model 3 is automatic, right? Like you have to push a button to have it open. But they have a hardware backup that, you know, they have that like little latch and pulley thing.
They tell you not to
emergency. They tell you not to use it. Yeah. What if with the Cybertruck it's on the screen or that voice command thing primarily, but underneath, like where, you know, parking brake releases or like, you know, most cars have, you know, the gas open up. Like what if there's like a little pernundle down there and you can pernundle their way around there too?
Maybe if it's hidden pretty well.
I can see that. Yeah. I think there should always be a fail-safe in place. Just for safety reasons. I think there should always be fail-safes in place. But I feel like, it should be in an area that's not impossible to reach, just aesthetically out of the way and you don't know, but functionality-wise, it's
in the glove box
that you can't access. Let's go like that.
Yeah. You got to pry it open.
Like, I can see myself taking a gun because there's no other way to get in there.
Gotta open the glove box.
My beautiful car. You're so upset.
Hey, Joe, what do you use that gun for? My glove box.
It's a fail-safe.
Just in case.
Oh, my goodness. That's funny.
Or you know how the Cybertruck has that little fold-down center console thing with the cup holders that you can fold up for the sixth seat? You could put a button in there. You like open it up.
So if there's a sixth person in the front there,
they have to lean forward a little bit if this display is turned off and you have 6 people in the car. I guess we got to take that compromise. It's a little bit of a rare situation that might be a little annoying. But if it means the interior is more minimal, I would say, I mean, the display, let's just make it less buggy. Let's make it even less common of crashing. I know it happens now, but how can we lower those numbers? How can we get it worse? I mean, not worse, better. Come on. Let's just go even more minimal. Randy would know about that with the minimalist mindset. He lost everybody.
He is honestly the most minimal person I know. And it's really an inspiration, Randy is. And I know he can't hear us right now, which is the reason why I'm saying this. He dropped a call just a second ago. But he'll be back, I know. And Randy's really an important person in my minimalist.
We love it. And he sucks. He's a terrible
totally
person.
Does. Oh my
Anyway,
gosh. Randy is...
Back from the... Guys, I went to the future. Quit what we're doing. It's all wrong. Cyberdyne Systems Online. Elon took over the world. It's all wrong.
What if... This is a stupid idea. But what if you could go in reverse by lifting upwards on the accelerator pedal instead of pushing it?
That's terrible.
It's like a BMX bike. You just pedal backwards.
My ankle doesn't work like that.
You put your foot behind the pedal and lift up, and it starts going back.
I get why you do that, and I don't hate it, but that would annoy my ankle.
I'm mostly joking. I'm not saying this is
that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. Elon, I know you're listening. Elon, I know you're watching. Somebody at Tesla's play with it.
See what happens. Can the pedal even measure that direction? Probably not. I doubt it.
Why not? It's the equivalent of shifting a gear. Yeah.
Do you touch the brake pedal much on your Tesla?
Ew, it looks like it's
drive it anymore, remember?
It looks like it's brand new still. Ew.
Because of all the one pedal driving?
I touch it. I use it to. Oh my goodness! You know what's crazy? And it's only Tesla can do this. I can shift gears while in motion from reverse and drive.
Yeah, I've heard.
And
that.
I love rocking. I rock people back and forth in it.
Car back and forth.
You guys know Jordan. He's like, Stop it! You're making me sleepy. So many people have told me it's like that's really weird, and I'm like, yeah, it's like keep talking
Because it's
keep
just a
talking.
motor. There's no gear shift. Or
The only
anything.
time it ever comes to a complete stop is when I push the brake or the park, and that's it. So
The many
I,
noises
Exactly
of
that sound.
Randy.
I know. I have a repertoire of sound effects. I only use the brake to come to complete stops when I'm parking into my carport or when I'm like I have to come to a quicker stop than what regenerative braking will do, which is I mean, I do use it, but no. I mean, if you look at my acceleration pedal and my brake pedal, one's definitely more utilized. But yeah.
So would you have a freaked out moment if you suddenly went to a car that didn't have regenerative braking and you keep rolling after you let your foot off the gas?
My wife's car, I always need like a 5-minute adjustment period.
Because when you stop pressing gas, you're like, oh, whoa, I'm still going. What the heck?
And not only that, when I try to park and I'm just like, wait, why is my windshield moving? So this is the blinker side, and this is the windshield. So I'm like, oh wait, and so I forgot, like, oh god, there's a stick that comes out the shit. It's so barbaric. Ugh.
That's why she wants the Cybertruck. That's
You Neanderthals. Ugh.
Soon
Gross.
the gear shifter on the Tesla will be barbaric. Just touch the display. It's so much more simple that way.
What are you guys doing, Grandpa? Just touch the display. Back in my day, we had a pernundle underneath this little yoke steering wheel on the Cybertruck.
For robo-taxis with no steering wheel, if you need to override, it will be like a click wheel on the display that you have to steer the car through the touchscreen.
This is going to be a thing one day.
At one point, we're just gonna be driving our cars like this. We're just gonna.
Yeah, with your phone.
Yeah.
You could use
It's
an
like
accelerometer in your phone.
Oh my gosh.
Lean it
That's
back
funny.
and forth. That would be trippy. But yeah, I think robo-taxis are really far off, but level 4 autonomy where you barely have to do anything is a lot closer.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe it'll be easier if the robo-taxi doesn't have to park itself. I think that's honestly the biggest holdup is the parking part of it. If it's just like driving someone somewhere and then they get out of the car and then the robo-taxi can go somewhere else, that's probably a lot easier. As long as it's like, where's my owner? I need to go home.
It drops you off and then it goes to work and then it comes to pick you up. It's like, hey, I'm ready to get picked up, and it tells you you need to wait. Some of us work for a living, and then it gets sassy mode on you.
I'm ready to get picked up. I'm running some errands at the moment. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just wrap up. Speaking of wrapping up,
Hey,
closing thoughts?
I think I'm good today. I normally have something fun to say. An Easter egg of sorts for all you Twitter people listening. You know, something random and fun. But I don't have anything today, so tweet me that.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week. We'll check to you next time.
That was a very weird outro, Nick. I am so uncomfortable.
My middle name.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Ba-ba-ba.